Okay, so today is just going to be a regular kind of message. Something I felt really called to talk about just because I heard something the other day on social media and I was just like, I really hope people aren't still buying into this saying. So we're gonna get into it, but yeah, my hopes is that it leaves women feeling more empowered. Actually, even both genders, I would say. But I am going to speak mostly through obviously the feminine lens because this saying was, well, anyway, we'll just get into it. But um, yeah, I'm just hoping that, yeah, both genders actually feel the truth of this. So, yeah, the other day, I believe it was yesterday, I came across a video on social media that this girl was talking about how the saying of like women should be with men who love them more than the woman loves the man. And like, oh my gosh, that really, really, really bothered me because it's so distorted. And I want to shine light to it so that hopefully, literally, like a younger version of myself coming across this video will not accept that idea and then look for that kind of love. And I know how that might sound like, what do you want? So you want the woman to love the man more? No, no, no. Balance. Balance is what I feel like everyone should be seeking. But I do understand what, like, how that phrase came to be. I totally understand. I get that at some point in time, some woman somewhere felt very disrespected by her man. She was probably overgiving herself, pouring more into him than he was into her. And so, almost to like reclaim her power back and reclaim and restore balance, it's almost like, well, no, don't love the guy more. The guy should love you more. And yeah, that's what you should seek. A woman should always seek a man who loves her more, who puts her on a pedestal, and yeah, that's how you get a great relationship, right? And this girl was basically saying that because she was saying how like she knew somebody that she loved the man more, and like he wasn't good to her. He didn't really like, obviously that's not a good relationship either. But I don't believe in like a man loving the man a man loving the woman more as well. Like that's also distorted. So let's get into this a little bit because I came from both. I came from both. Um, so I've, over the course of like my life, in terms of like a serious long-term relationship, I've had three. Talking about long-term, right? Like my first long-term one I think was 4.5 years. Then my second one, I think it was about the same. And then my most recent one, which is with my ex-husband, was about 7 years, like long term, right? Um, my first one, that was definitely more like end of high school. And I'm not going to get too much into the details, but he definitely was way more into me than I was into him. And he kept like pursuing me, and I was just like, not, I was not interested at all. at all. But somehow, some ways, because he was so persistent, I was like, you know what? If he's being this persistent, maybe I'll give it a try. Ultimately, no, that wasn't good. Then I moved into my second relationship. Obviously, there were breaks in between, but I'm not going to spend time talking about every detail. But anyway, I moved into my second relationship, and that was definitely me giving myself more into the relationship, into the container, than he was. Absolutely. And that obviously didn't work. Like, he clearly did not see anything long term with me, which, by the way, he lied about. Like, he told me that he did. And then over the course of our relationship, I just found that, like, no, he's not sticking to his word. And that he wanted to have multiple relationships. He even like suggested to have like an open relationship, and I'm not okay with that because I believe in keeping the energy sacred and in a beautiful sacred container. But anyway, obviously that didn't work, and then that kind of left me wondering, like, well, what the heck? And I think it was then I heard that saying, and I actually even heard it from family members, of like how you should be with a man that loves you more than you love him. And it's funny because even then I was like, that doesn't make sense, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know. Clearly I had two relationships that didn't really work out. Maybe this is it, right? And there I go. I find someone, which was my ex-husband, where he definitely put me on a pedestal. He was very devoted to me. Obviously, every relationship has their thing, and we did as well. But ultimately, like, if I look back and I compare my relationships, like, I would say it was the healthiest one out of the two that I had, like the long term ones. But it's still, it was missing depth. It was missing work. Like, I was definitely the one that was a lot more into self growth, working on myself, healing wounds and traumas, and he wasn't. I always had to like pull him up. But ultimately, like I said, he was definitely way more into me than I was into him. I was just very much accepting of the situation, almost in a way like that first relationship, but a little bit different because it was weird. It was like my body was saying yes and no to him. It was weird. Obviously, I understand the lesson that I learned from that. Like, that relationship for me was a healing lesson. Like, out of the two toxic relationships that I came out of, he provided me the space to really heal and repattern and reprogram what a relationship means to me, and also just to heal a lot of my wounds. Um, but anyway, also just like what I learned out of that is that saying does not work either. Because here I was in a relationship of someone being very devoted and putting me on a pedestal, and yet I was like, thank you, it's nice, but I can't give that back to you. And yes, some of you might be like, well, why didn't you? That's wrong. Well, there energy is at its core, right? And when someone is doing a lot more work on themselves and that person can't meet you there, ultimately that will always create a big gap between you and that person. And that started to happen. And I even told him, I remember when I got into a relationship with him, I told him, listen, this is who I am. These are my values. I am a person that works on myself, and I do expect the same out of my partner because this is just who I am. And I told him, like, look, I can't make you work on stuff, but I hope you know that, like, if you don't work on things, we're eventually going to go like this. Like, that's just what happens. And he's like, yeah, okay. And whatever. Again, I'm not going to get too much into it because this is not the point of the message. The point that I want to bring, the light that I want to shed on this is that I don't think there should be anyone in a relationship dynamic loving another person more than that person loves them. Never. Not the man loving the woman more, not the woman loving the man more. That doesn't work. There is no balance there. There's always going to be some energy depletion. There's going to be a leakage of energy somewhere, and both of those parties, both of those people are going to feel it at the end of the day, that something's off, something's missing. They might not even voice it, but they'll feel it. Like, there's no balance here. There's no beautiful yin and yang. And so anyway, coming out of my marriage, I've realized, like, no, I want that fire. I want that, like, devotion, but like equal devotion, equal give and take, reciprocal love. Not, you know, put me, I don't actually want to be put on a pedestal and, be above anybody, because I don't believe that. I want it to be balanced. I want to, like, meet in the middle, and I believe that is exactly what a healthy dynamic between two individuals are. Actually, in any circumstance, in any, like, apply, take this, I know we're speaking in the romantic context, but take this, apply it to anything in your life, apply it to your work life. Is it actually reciprocal? Are you putting more hours than you're getting paid, right? um or is an employee taking advantage of you? Like, it's felt, it is felt. Put that into friendships as well. Are you putting more energy into a certain friendship than that person is putting into you? Like, honestly, this is the era of choosing yourself in every single area of your life, right? Is there equal give and take? If there's not, close the chapter, move on. Because, and I know how some people might take this, well, what do you mean? So people should just be, like, breaking up, divorcing, and also leaving their jobs, yada yada. Well, yeah, if that's what it takes to shake things up and cause people to wake up, then yes, that's exactly what needs to happen. Because some people have to learn through going through these hardships. Sometimes that's the only way, right? Um, so and that's exactly actually what I started to do in my life. I just started to choose myself because I was like, yes, it's nice that I'm with someone who is devoted to me, but clearly there were, like I said, obviously there were things. It was not like the only thing, but um yes, it's nice, but I knew, I'm like, there's no balance in this. There's no reciprocal love, and I knew that he would probably stay with me if I didn't say anything, or who knows, maybe eventually would have. I don't know. But I even was getting to the point of, like, he deserves to have reciprocal love. Like, he deserves to have that energy also be poured back into him. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't, right? Like, that's when, like, some people, like, either they're truly meant for each other or they're not. And if they're not, it's obvious. There's always a leakage of energy. And that same goes for career or friendships. And I literally, like I said, I started to do this. I just started to choose myself in every single scenario where that friend doesn't come see me, call me. I'm always the one texting. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm no longer going to pour my energy. And guess what happened? It just completely stopped. So if I'm not pouring energy into this person, into this individual, and they're not pouring energy back into me, well then I guess it just means that we're not there, at least not now, right? And yeah, it's really funny when you start choosing yourself. Maybe that'll be a separate video, but when you do start choosing yourself, because you operate at a different frequency, it's like the universe starts just taking things away from you that no longer choose you. And so sometimes it can be a shock where you're like, wait, I didn't know I was going to lose my job, but clearly my job was not choosing me and didn't respect and honor me. And it wasn't a reciprocal give and take. So it just like gets wiped clean, right? Um but yeah, I again just going back into that saying of like men should love their woman more than she loves him is so bad. And I'm sure there are men out there who have experienced this themselves where it's like they could have entered into that dynamic, but they always felt like something was off. Like the woman also wasn't giving enough to the relationship. And it's like, aren't you also deserving and worthy of that same amount of energy coming back into you? Right? Because if you think about it, when two people connect and they connect on the same depth and level of devotion and love, that actually becomes that infinity sign of energy, of the give and take, and it's constantly circulating instead of one pouring more into the other, and then there's no balance, right? So I'm sure there's guys out there who have been like, I've been in that, and it's like didn't work, right? And sometimes those men, which is not right, they go completely the other way around. They're like, all right, well then I'm not going to give anything at all. Well, you trust me, that's not going to work either. That's not going to work. You don't have to believe me. You're going to end up with someone of a woman who's trying to overgive, and anyway, it's not going to work out. Do you see how both sides are wounded? Both sides are wounded. And to have like a truly beautiful healed relationship, which to me, I'm honestly just realizing that there probably aren't many out there. There's some that are actually conscious and aware and do the work and are integral with themselves and honest with themselves of like, you know, I want to be with you, I love you, etc., etc. And it's like both parties are on the same level. There are, I know they exist, but they're still a rare breed amongst the many. And yeah, I know that there aren't many examples of that beautiful give and take, of that balanced love, of that yin and yang, right? And by the way, me saying this of like looking for a balanced love, I get that at times, sometimes it's not equal give and take. Sometimes one person is pouring more in because let's say the other person is going through something. I get that. But ultimately, it will always balance out, and that never lasts like a long time, right? It's not like the basis of the relationship, right? Um, but yeah, there's obviously still a lot of like distortion in our world, obviously, and especially in the relationship department as well. And like I said, I really wanted to make this because it's like if a younger version of myself would have seen something like this of being like, oh, so no, it shouldn't be that, the man loves the woman more, it should be reciprocal love, then I probably would have been looking for that. But I didn't, because at that time I did hear that saying, and I was like, maybe that makes sense, maybe that's how it works. And I had to go get my own experience of that and realize that that doesn't work. That's also not balanced. And I'm proud of myself that I'm so devoted and anchored into truth where I couldn't be in a dynamic that wasn't solid, that wasn't reciprocal. And I was like, well, this isn't making me feel any better, you know? Like, I just, this doesn't, there's something missing here. And yeah, I had to walk away. And I mean, again, I've integrated my own relationship lessons and like a lot of different like I said, I've had a whole death and rebirth this past year where I've learned a lot. And yeah, I realize also that the balance that we seek and want in another, we have to find that within ourselves first. So if you have a distorted relationship on the outside with the masculine or the feminine, it's usually because you have a distorted relationship within with that part of yourself, which ultimately probably stemmed from your parents, right? There being some kind of distortion between like your mom and yourself, or your father and yourself, right? And then that doesn't fully get integrated within, right? Which is why it's so important to do the work within to help balance that, to help heal those wounds, because when you do that, you will only seek balance on the outside. So, yeah, if you are a feminine coming out of a relationship where you have poured more into the relationship and the man that he ever poured into you, obviously that's wrong, but don't go the other way. Don't go the other way, because that also doesn't work. Will it feel nice? Sure. But if you're not fully in it either, ultimately that will catch up with you, and you'll end up walking away. Someone will end up walking away because it's not built on integrity and honesty and reciprocal kind of love, right? And if it's a man, right, that is coming out of something like that, honestly, my advice for both of you: find balance within. Find wholeness, balance within first, because whatever you do within, you're gonna look like on the outside for that. You're gonna attract that on the outside, someone who can mirror the work that you have done back, which is why it's so important to be doing this type of work on yourself first, within first, because you just get a mirrored reflection of that on the outside. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna end this here. Let me know if you guys like this, because I just kind of felt like I wanted to rant about this a little bit. But if you like it, then maybe I'll do this more often. I don't know. Let me know. Um, but I will say, I will end with this, that I do believe that we are headed to a more balanced kind of reality, a more balanced, like more balanced relationships existing. I do see that happening. I'm not going to say within the next year, you know, because there's a lot of people that still need to wake up and heal and do their stuff. But I do believe over time that more and more people are going to come into balance within themselves, inner union within themselves, and then be attracted to the right person who can also mirror that. And it's going to be a different type of relationship, like of harmony and balance. I do believe that will happen. It will take time. I know that. I get that. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna end this here. Hopefully this helps somebody, and I don't know, broadened your perspective. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna leave this here. As always, my tip jar and my services and my offerings are listed in the description box below. I have been thinking about offering like an online course or some kind of workshop. So if I do, or if you guys have, like, if you guys are interested in something, let me know. But I've been kind of like pondering about it, and then if it's ready, I'll just let you know. But in the meantime, if something comes up and you guys want to know about something, just let me know, because I'll consider it and make a workshop or course about it. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna leave this here, sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next one.